I guess I'll retweet us.
All right, we are live, everybody. We're live on the yard. No Casey. We all know why. The comments are already going bananas because of, I mean, you know why. Casey's got a big fight coming up, and I see a lot of you are commenting about where to watch said fight and all of these things. So we're trying to figure that all out. Details to follow.
Fight of the week.
It is the best fight of the week, but we do have UFC London about to kick off in around 30 minutes from right now. So we're here for the People's Pre-Fight Show. And if you don't like the production of this, you don't like that we're using StreamYard, tough. We could have done nothing, but we're still doing stuff for you people because that's what we're all about. I am Mike Heck. That is Jed Meshew. And this is the People's Pre-Fight Show. UFC London. It's going to be headlined by Alexander Volkov versus Tom Aspinall. That is the main event. The UFC back at the O2 Arena for the first time in 3 years since the fateful night where the Jorge Masvidal 2019 Cinderella story began with the knockout of Darren Till. And now we're back in London to do the damn thing. So if you got questions, you got thoughts on this event, we're going to get right after it. So here's kind of what I know about the Casey fight at this point. It's not going to be streamed, but if you saw on Twitter, our old friend Mark Ramundi is actually going to be there, and he's going to try to stream the fight on his IG Live. So if that happens, we're going to figure out something, whether we do it here or on Twitter Spaces. We'll do like a play-by-play of Mark's video and just lead you through, because I know a lot of you are excited for the fight. We'll do whatever we can to keep you updated on everything. So, but in the meantime, keep sending your well wishes for Casey, and we'll flash him on the screen. I think
you don't need no well wishes. He's gonna do work.
He's gonna
do work.
I'm so excited, man. Watching those videos just got me so amped. Like the weigh-in videos and stuff. Like it was. I mean, I had goosebumps, chills, literally chills. Tremendous content. Well done. Let's get into this thing. Get those questions up. We'll pull them up. We'll get into as many as we can. We'll go with Nam Kablam. With Mccann Amirkhani being 0-3 in his last 3 fights, Jed, is this do or die for him? Would the UFC cut him if he loses his 4th straight fight? According to the betting odds right now, he is not favored to snap that losing streak. He's a plus 175 dog to Mike Grundy, who's a minus 210 favorite. So I'm picking Grundy to win. I think he gets a late finish in this fight. This is a big deal for Grundy. This is a big deal. It's a big fight. If you watch his media day, a lot of emotion here, a lot of family stuff going on. So this is a very big fight for him. Mccann needs to win badly. Will the UFC cut bait if Mccann Amirkhani does not get his hand raised today?
I'm going to say no, but I could see it. The reason I'm going to say no is there's no other way to say it. He's a handsome man, and one does not part with a handsome man easily. And for all his many faults as a fighter, and there are many, Mccann Amirkhani is one of the more handsome people competing in mixed martial arts today. And so, being a handsome guy just gets you a lot of, Mike, it gets you a lot of leeway in life. You get to
get out of here.
You get to do a bunch of stuff that other people don't. So I'm going to say he gets to keep his job even with the loss. Interesting that you think Grundy's going to get the finish, though. I could be sold, but I'm going Grundy by decision. But Amirkhani does have that tendency to just tire himself out after like 4 minutes, like aggressively. So
yep.
I don't know. I'm really interested in this fight. Not because I think it's going to be good, but the dynamics are like, there are a lot of ways Amirkhani could win this fight. I don't know. He's not going to do any of them, but I think he's just going to try and like out wrestle the better wrestler. And so he's going to get gassed really early and then spend 10 to 12 minutes surviving or hanging tough. But, the dynamic is interesting. Both men are very good wrestlers.
Yeah, should be fun. A lot of scrambles early. I think Grundy will take over in the 2nd. I think he gets a late sub in the 3rd. So we'll see what happens. Scott McCray, who you got for Cory Mckenna versus Elise Reed? I think we will see the CFFC champ version of Reed at 115 pounds. Let me see where we get betting odds. Wow, Cory Mckenna, big favorite, minus 300 to come back on Elise Reed, plus 235. Second UFC fight for Elise Reed. Stepped in on short notice. Like less than a week, I think, or maybe like right around a week to fight Sijara Eubanks. And that's a tough fight to on your 6 pro fight, making your UFC debut, going against Sijara Eubanks. That's a tough ask, but Sijara went in, did her thing, finished Elise. Pretty violent finish, but Elise coming back with the matchup that's a little favorable for her. Like I think this is actually a good dog spot for Elise Reed at plus 235. Your thoughts on this fight?
I see where you're coming from. I wouldn't lay dog money here just because I don't feel like I have a tremendous read on what's about to happen.
Hey.
But it does feel like this line's a little high. Like Mckenna is a little too favored for a fight that could. It's not like she's unbelievably talented to have that big a minus beside her name, but I have ultimately picked her to win by decision.
I picked Reed to win. I mean, I thought Reed, not Reed. I thought Mckenna lost to Kay Hansen. I thought she lost that fight. You could actually, going back and watching it, you can make the argument she lost all 3 rounds of that fight to Kay Hansen. But the judges scored it for Cory. I just feel like their strength of schedules are. I actually think Reed's fought the tougher competition, if we're being honest. She has a win over Jasmine Jasudavicius. She has wins over, I think, just the rise up. I think Elise has fought better competition, so we'll see.
You're feeling saucy with some underdog action early. Elise Reed, Grundy by submissions like plus 450. Grundy by third round submissions like plus 2K. So you got some action coming here.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's keep these. How about this? If you are the UFC, do you rush Paddy to a title fight with a win? I mean, I don't know if they mean like next, but I mean, let's just say Paddy goes out there and does what he is expected to do. He's the biggest favorite on the card, minus 675 against Kazula Vargas. We expect Paddy to go in there and win this fight. It's a very favorable matchup for him. He's a much bigger fighter. He's going to have the support of a country behind him. The place is just going to go bananas. So if Paddy goes out there, does his thing, gets a finish in the first or second round, how high do we push him? What do we do now? What do we do then?
Look, I agree in principle with the concept here. I think you got to rush into a title fight because I've said it many times. He's actually just not very good. So you want to capitalize on his, what he brings. He brings a lot. He's the most popular fighter. Heard you guys on the preview show yesterday. Jose was like, yeah, everywhere here. This is the Paddy Pimblett show. And you want to capitalize on that. Again, it's really tough for somebody to be that popular and not that good. And that's kind of the needle that Paddy's threading right now. And he competes in the most difficult weight class in the sport. So it's just like, pulled up the UFC's rankings because I agree. I don't think you can look. I know you guys talked on the preview show yesterday. I'm okay with you having him fight like the winner of Cerrone Lozon or Jim Miller. Though Jim Miller might beat him.
I actually don't like the Jim Miller fight at all.
I think it's fine because I think Paddy can beat Jim Miller, but I think that's a very competitive fight. Star building, I get it, but if the core conceit here, let's rush it. Let's find the path to a title fight as quickly as possible to maximize that energy. And there isn't one. Like I pulled the UFC's rankings right now, and you can't have him fight anybody in the back half of the top 15 because those are all actually good prospects who would whip the crap out of him. Like if you put him in against Mateusz Gamrot, like Gamrot's going to stunt on him. Like it's just not, you can't have, or your boy Armstrong, like he can't fight those people.
No.
So if you're going to do it, I think the only path you have, as far as I can see, is you've got to roll the dice that Tony Ferguson is in fact washed. I don't know if he's washed. I think he's on the well done side of cooked, but I'm not sure that he's done. And even a semi or a half cooked Tony probably still can beat Paddy Pimblett, which is a problem. But there's just nobody else anywhere in the neighborhood of the rankings that Paddy has a real chance of beating. So I think I agree, I think you should push him. I think the thing you do, screw the Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler stuff that I don't think has been made official yet. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's
Mike.
official.
Is that official?
Yep.
Oh, well, get rid of Michael Chandler in that fight because that fight is not great. And try and put Tony Ferguson in there. Because otherwise there's just no – who can he beat in the top 15? Like Who does he have a chance to beat? Not like who will he beat, because there's nobody that I would be like, I'm laying my money on Paddy here. Who could he physically have a shot at taking down other than Conor McGregor, who's not going to fight him? Like, that's it.
Yeah,
Conor
it's
also
tough.
walks him. Like,
I mean, if Ferguson loses to Chandler, that's probably the direction you look. If you're gonna rush him, if
Ferguson
but
loses to Chandler, sure, but then you're still going to need one more win, because at that point, Tony Ferguson on a 4-fight losing streak.
yeah, but
Like,
that doesn't
right
matter.
now, you could maybe sell it with Tony on a 3-fight losing streak, because his losses are to top guys and Paddy's a star.
Nobody cares about that, though. Nobody cares. People like Tony. Tony's a name.
I guess.
You see the reactions he gets. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't really matter. And you do it in America. You do it here in front of a big crowd.
Can you just dream with me for a minute, Mike, and think about if we found a way to get Paddy in, and Paddy versus Islam Makhachev, and what that fight would look like?
Oh my gosh.
Because that is hilarious. That is off-brand Khabib Conor, only a lot worse.
I mean, you said it, and we said it on the preview show yesterday. You keep him away from the Sarukians. You keep him away. Yeah, you keep him away from all those guys. You do not do the Ilia Topuria fight. You do not do the Ilia Topuria fight. I don't care what happened in London. I don't care if Ilia Topuria went up and slapped him in the face. You do not book that fight. That is a terrible idea. Don't do it.
I mean, the reason you would do it is to build Topuria as a star. Right. You don't do it to expect Paddy to come out of that looking anything other than busted in half, because that's what he'll get from Topuria. So, but at some point, that's the thing. Like, I think Conor McGregor is one of the more interesting characters in the history of the sport, because he's not nearly as good as most people think, but he's also better than a lot of the haters think. And like, he just created a lot of interest in a lot of different ways that I've always been fascinated by. Paddy is not Conor. Like, Conor, I don't think Conor was ever the best lightweight in the world. Paddy is not in the conversation of the best lightweight in the world, and he's probably not a top 20 lightweight in the world. Like, Conor was undeniably a top 10, top 5, or, top 2, top 1 featherweight, and a top 5, top 10 lightweight. So he could do the things, and it was easier to manufacture a great run from him to build that star power. You just cannot do that with Paddy unless he gets a lot better real fast. And he's been fighting for a while, and his cake mostly seems to be baked at this point.
It's the fight everyone seems to be excited about. We got Arnold Allen taking on Dan Hooker. I believe this is the most closely lined fight on the card as of right now, according to DraftKings. Arnold Allen, -115. Dan Hooker, -105. This is a 50-50 coin flip in a lot of people's eyes. Fernbird MMA is on Dan Hooker by decision to stop the surge of Arnold Allen. Do you agree with Fernbird MMA, or do you think Arnold Allen extends this win streak and keeps on plugging away?
I want to pick Dan Hooker. I think this is either the most competitive or the second most competitive fight on the card to me. The other one we talked about earlier this week, Jack Shore, Timur Valiev, great fight. But I think this one, I'm siding with Arnold Allen. And almost, I agree a lot with what you said yesterday on the preview show. I went back and listened. And I think if this is a fun fight, Dan Hooker's winning. If this is a not fun fight, Arnold Allen is winning. And at the end of the day, Dan Hooker has fought much better competition and comported himself very well against a lot of it. Still don't love his defensive wrestling. And Arnold Allen just he's sort of like bootleg Rory McDonald, or like featherweight bootleg Rory McDonald. Very TriStar-esque in a lot of what he does, although he's a little more action-based than Rory, but not a great finisher. He needs 2 takedowns. Like, that's, at the end of the day, this fight is Arnold Allen needs 2 takedowns. And though I think Hooker is obviously the bigger man, I think Arnold Allen has more physicality to his game. And so he can make this a rough and tumble affair on the inside, clinching and wrestling and taking away the weapons of Dan Hooker. And Hooker may start strong early and have a little bit of success, but 2 takedowns gets the job done. I think Arnold Allen's going to do it. I found in this card, I hate doing this too. I've backed almost every like UK fighter for my picks, and I hate doing that because most of the time it doesn't work. But like in my head, well, I'm sure we'll talk about Molly Mccann a little bit, and she's kind of the best example of this. Like, I think this is a very close fight, and the edge for me is that Arnold Allen is going to be fighting in front of 20,000 screaming Brits and just vibing himself. So 2 takedowns gets it done.
I agree. Thoughts on Darren Till not being on the card? He's there as a guest fighter, getting a lot of buzz, obviously, but I'm not really surprised by this. I feel like Darren just is doing the right things right now. He's with Hamzat, he's with his team, with All Stars, and trying to get better. There's no need to rush Darren Till at this point. You still have him there, so you still get the Darren Till rub for the card. But I mean, who are you going to put him against? It's tough. It's tough when he's kind of on this run that he's on right now.
Uriah Hall, baby. It's the fight he wants.
Yeah, you could have done it, but Uriah Hall's already booked. So
who's Uriah Hall fighting?
He's fighting Andre Muniz.
Oh, well, you can do it afterwards. That's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
He's no lose to Andre Muniz,
no matter what happens. Yeah, no matter what happens there. See, the dog's all excited for this fight. Is Jack Shore really being slept on as a prospect? I think he's properly rated. I can't put him in front of other bantamweight prospects like Umar Saeed, Kyler Phillips, Hayoni Barcelos, and even A. Youngs. I don't know if you meant that.
We started scraping the bottom of the barrel at the back there. Look, I like Hayoni Barcelos, but like,
I think Jack Shore could beat Hayoni Barcelos. I mean, we just saw Victor Henry.
I think saying you can't put Jack Shore above Hayoni Barcelos is wrong, like just objectively wrong.
Yeah, I mean the Nurmies is that's tough sell. Kyler, I think, is an interesting fight. I think he could beat Hayoni. And Hayoni gave Timur some problems. I know it's MMA math and whatevs to that, but I mean, I do think Jack Shore is one of the most slept on guys on this card right now. I think Timur Valiev is a really good fighter. I think he's, just an interesting guy to look at in this very loaded division. But I think Jack Shore is, I think he's the real deal. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. But Jack Shore is now the favorite in this fight. He wasn't before, but the line flipped pretty quickly as of yesterday. So Jack Shore, the -125 favorite, Valiev +105. I think Shore's being slept on, but I think the betting community is now, they jumped on Jack Shore at dog odds.
I think a lot of money was always going to come in on basically every British fighter. As it gets closer to fight day, the Brits start gambling. Yeah, I think Jack Shore is probably, it's weird because I never felt that Jack Shore was slept on until a lot of people started asking if he was being slept on. And because there's some people out there who like very firmly believe Timur Valiev is going to just like wipe the floor with Jack Shore, which is odd because it was always a very closely contested, at least in the betting perspective. I'm picking Shore to win, and we talked about this off air the other day. I think I would like Jack Shore just a hell of a lot more, except for one glaring weakness, and it is that he's British. And people like Paddy Pimblett, who are these really super hyped British prospects, but actually aren't very good, kind of just leave a really bad taste in my mouth to like get behind this. Like, if you go in the history books or whatever, that's paid off one time, and it only paid off after a 20-year investment and a lot of luck did Michael Bisping get himself a title. Like, and that's not to disrespect Michael Bisping because what he accomplished in the sport is incredible. But if you rerun his career 20 times, he found the path to the belt in like 1 out of 2 scenarios that he ever gets it. It's just not how his career is ever going to work. And whereas supposedly, if you just throw a name with an Av from Dagestan, like I feel pretty good that guy's probably going to be really damn good forever because that's as a track record of success. So that's my big blocker on Shore is that, because from what I see on tape, watching him fight, I think he's really a good fighter. I just, I'm a little cautious that maybe he's secretly a Paddy Pimblett. and not a, we'll say Michael Bisping, though Michael Bisping was honestly a little Paddy Pimblett-esque for a lot of his career.
So we go from a guy I feel is the most slept on fighter on the card. I did pick Shore Valiev to be the low key banger of the card, but
that's for sure the low key banger.
Low key
card,
banger,
not of the weekend.
Yeah, of course. Low key banger and slept on fight, I think, are two different things. This is the fight I think is the slept on fight. Paul Craig versus Nikita Krylov. No one talking about this fight, but it's a big one. It's an important one at 205. A lot of backing on Mr. Krylov here. Minus 210 favorite, and the comeback on Paul Craig is plus 175. Ray Long is asking, how the hell is Paul Craig not even the featured prelim? He could headline a fight night, and Grundy and Amir Hani are ahead of him. Your thoughts on the placement of that fight, and just maybe just the overall placement of all the fights, how this is all sort of mashed up and put together. I actually think it's perfect, but I mean, what say you?
So we talked about this on BTL. I think it's close to perfect. I would swap 1 and 2. I understand why they didn't and why they're not going to do that, but the prospect of 5 rounds of Alexander Volkov and Tom Aspinall, which I think is going to look a lot like Volkov, Cyril Gane, is way less fun than the prospect of 5 rounds of Arnold Allen, Dan Hooker, because also I think 5 rounds of Arnold Allen, Dan Hooker fundamentally changes that bout, and I would probably pick Dan Hooker in the 5-round affair against Arnold Allen at this point. So that's my only quibble. I understand why that's how that happens, so it's not like a huge one, but I do wish that the co-main was at least 5 rounds. I think that's fundamentally important. Look, they've just kind of got a lot of good fights on this card. I agree in principle, though. I think it's real weird to have Grundy Amir Khani as your featured prelim, because that fight is probably going to suck for like long stretches of it. And it's not like, I mean, yeah, we talked about it. Amir Khan, very handsome man, but it's not like he's, to my knowledge, some enormous star. So for me, I would have had Krylov, Paul Craig probably as a featured prelim, even though I think Shore Valiev's a better fight. It's light heavyweights. That's a more marquee weight class in general. And Krylov's been around the block. Paul Craig, I think that's just more an appealing prelim main event than what they've done. But I mean, other than that, it's fine.
Is anyone else concerned with the degree of mixing going on with the martial arts today? In years past, the mixing was more like mixing ingredients with a wooden spoon. Now it's like using a blender. You're damn right. You're damn right.
Hashtag keep the martial arts apart.
That's
Shouts
right.
to AK.
No. We're getting there. We're getting very close. We're monitoring. Don't worry about it. Louis, we addressed the Paddy Pimblett stuff already, so don't worry about that. Where's Ariel? Home with his family. Where can I get one of the MMA fighting shirts? I'm asking the same question. How about that?
You cannot. It's a limited print run.
Absolutely. I want to see Lozon Cerrone be a retirement fight for both guys. I talked to Joe Lozon. That interview is going to drop 2 weeks. I think April 1st it's dropping. Lozon he's treating it like the last fight, where he's just like, if it goes, okay. Yeah, he's like, I'm not making a decision. I'm just gonna see how it goes, and we'll make the decision after. So, Mike and Jed, from your guys and hearing, will Peña Nunes 2 be happening at UFC 276? That is I think that's the International Fight Week card. It's possible. Our own Guillermo Cruz talked to Nunes' coach, and he thought like sometime in the summer, June, July, August, somewhere in that neck of the woods. So it's possible. I mean, they need fights on that card at this point. Nothing's been announced. I think the plan was they felt like Usman.
Oh, I died. I died or Mike died. I'm not sure. So if you wonderful people are listening to me, that's really a shame.
I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh, it's you. You're the one who died. That's good to know.
I died. Just me. I moved the mouse because I was going through all the comments, and then it somehow just moving the mouse just kicked me out of the room.
We're good. Well, I vamped for like 3 seconds. So we're back. Yeah, I'm not in touch with the production, so we weren't going to do anything if you left.
Yeah, I mean the room was still active, so I mean I
Yeah.
didn't kill the room because that would have been really bad because then we would have to do a whole new stream.
This is what happens when Casey becomes a professional fighter. The wheels fall off.
There we go. There's your Meatball Molly. Can we get some love from Meatball Molly? Big fight. She's on the main card against Luana Carolina. Jose Youngs asked this to Dana White. Said this is the first female fight in London to be on a main card. So some history for Molly Mccann. I think it's the right choice to put her on this card. She got a tough fight, man. Luana Carolina is a dog. And this actually, I think this will be an exciting fight. I think it's actually really good matchmaking here. Your thoughts on Mccann versus Carolina?
Yeah. In my heart of hearts, I believe that Molly Mccann is just not very good at fighting. But she is a captivating personality. I think she's way more interesting than Paddy Pimblett, honestly. Met her a couple times. Good hang. And I am predicting that she's going to get her first UFC stoppage. I think that that's wrong. Like, my brain tells me that actually Luana Carolina is probably going to is going to survive Molly just rushing at her, and Molly's going to make this really ugly, and it's going to be a weird split decision where Molly probably eats a lot more shots but is moving forward more and gets a lot of the cheering from the crowd. But I want to believe, and Molly Mccann is so committed to finally getting a stoppage in the UFC. Here, talking about it beforehand, I am going to believe that after scrappy 10 minutes, Mccann is surged to glory by the London crowd and gets her first stoppage with strikes in the third. And we'll see if I'm wrong. I guess I am. I'm probably going to be wrong, but I want to believe it because it'd be really cool for that to happen. So that's where I'm at.
I'm starting to catch back up with all these people thought I just died, apparently.
Where's the polls?
When I got off the screen. Where's the polls? That's right, the Hexerection. Let's go. I guess you did a good job. Mike, what's better, Savannah or Boston St. Patrick's Day? I haven't experienced the Savannah one yet, so I don't know.
I've never been to Boston St. Pat's. I've been to like 25 Savannah St. Patrick's Days. So it's pretty good. It's a pretty good time.
Someone said earlier that they feel like I'm literally the nicest person ever, and I don't think that's true at all.
You've just never met Mike. You have a great on-screen persona.
Yeah. Jed got to play golf with me before. I was pretty nice.
Nobody's their best self when they're golfing, though. That is a statement of fact.
What else we got going on?
Oh, man. We can play golf in Jacksonville, Mike?
Let me just say that there's something in the works already.
I'm excited. Let's do it, buddy.
I
don't have one. I don't care about Brock Lesnar.
I'm working on.
It was really funny when Brock Lesnar said he was going to go drink a Coors.
That was
Bud Light didn't sponsor him. That was just legitimately hilarious. Go drink a Coors.
That was actually really good. He pissed off everybody with that one. Yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? See, that's like one of those perfect things. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to get mad at Brock. What are you going to do? You're going to force him out of the cage. Good luck to you. That's just legit. A lot of Muhammad Mokaev talk. People are very excited for this guy. Massive favorite, making his debut. He's 5-0, taking on Cody Durden. There is some heat to this one. This is the guy Mokaev wanted after Cody Durden made some comments after his last fight. Minus 490, Jed, for Muhammad Mokaev. Yeah, the guy is super good, man. Really good. Sure. Have you seen him fight before?
Yeah, but that's just so much for a guy making his debut. It's so much. Like, I can't. I wanted to lay him in parlays because I think he's going to win, but like, you just can't. I just can't lay that until I see him like actually handle. He's only had like, I know he has a super extensive AMI background. He's only had like 4 professional fights. Like, the difference in what he is about to experience is substantial from whatever he has done before to fighting the main card opener of a 20,000 packed O2 arena, fans screaming their head off. Like, it's just a whole different ball game. And I think he's going to win. Minus 450 is an insane line.
Winner gets a Bud Light. How about that? Predictions for the UFC Abu Dhabi main event or pay-per-view. I don't know. Like that's 281 in October. That's probably going to be a free one. That'll probably be, well, not free, but they might do the ESPN Plus thing again. Very possible. They did it last time.
Dude, that's easy.
I mean, that has to be
easy prediction.
It's Makhachev versus whoever wins. No? Go ahead.
Sir. Why are we living the dream? It's Conor versus the winner of Gaethje Oliveira. That's it.
Why? But wait, Conor wants Usman now. He doesn't want Charles Oliveira.
Conor says a lot of things. Conor's never going to fight Usman. He is going to fight Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, probably in October in Abu Dhabi.
We'll see. I don't know why they put that. I mean, you wouldn't have Islam fight there. I mean, it would make more sense to have Islam fight there, right? Like,
Islam can fight on the undercard. You just recreate what 205 or whatever the New York one, where Conor fights in the main event and Islam's on the undercard, and he can just word for word say Khabib's chicken speech. There you go. You've done it. Yay.
All right. I have to ask you about this, Jed. This is right up your alley. Where the hell is it? There you go. Thor versus Eddie.
Is
this on your radar? That's today.
They both are way better at boxing than I would have thought when this first came out. Like, they have both obviously spent a lot of time working on this, and it is still a carnival for sure based on what it is. But this is a reasonable athletic contest now. This is not an absolute zoo. So props to both men because they have clearly worked a lot. I am going to assume that Thor wins this fight for all of the reasons. He is substantially longer man and appears to at least have some competence with a jab. Certainly enough competence to get by Eddie, who's not like a wizard. And ultimately, this is probably going to suck after the first round, just because they are both very large men, and large men do not have enduring cardiovascular abilities. So, it might not be as fun as we think, but I'm certainly tuning in.
I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
How could you not? The broadcast has started. No fights yet. We'll wait till we start seeing fighters make the walk. Once we see that, we will make our quick main card picks, and then we'll enjoy the fights. And then Jed and I will be back on Twitter Spaces in an hour and a half. We'll do the prelim pregame there, answering your questions. And then we will figure out a way to let you know what's happening in Casey's fight. We will figure it out.
Hell or high water.
Someone asked earlier my biggest takeaway of my interview with Colby Covington. I mean, Colby won. He's doing the victory tour as expected. I have to say, and I don't know your thoughts on this. I know you talked about it on BTL. I'm pretty intrigued about an Adesanya Covington fight. I don't think it happens, but I don't think the UFC is completely ruling it out. Because we're just looking at the current slate. We have 2 July pay-per-view events. One of them is the International Fight Week card, which they're going to try to load up. Now, if they can't get something big, Adesanya versus Covington seems like a pretty solid main event for that card. If they can't get anything else. Now, if we can't get John Jones versus Stipe, because you would think that's what the UFC would probably try to target for the interim heavyweight title. It's an interesting fight, man. It's an interesting fight.
I think it ultimately won't happen. I think there's a world. I think it'd have a lot better, a way, way, way better chance if Colby hadn't kind of dumbly called for the Dustin Poirier fight in his post-fight moment with Masvidal. I get why he made that call out, but it was short-sighted. Sure, that fight is a great fight if he can get it, because he would probably beat up Dustin Poirier. But Poirier was never going to take that fight. For as much as he said, he was never going to take the fight. And Colby doesn't actually care about winning the dozens. It's not like, ooh, well, you're a punk. Like it's all fake. It's all persona. It's all to build to the next thing. And that's a bridge to nowhere because Dustin is too big a star. He's going to do other stuff. Adesanya is also too big a star, but a lot of the core conceits that underlie the call there are true. Adesanya mostly has beaten the compelling matchups for him at middleweight. Sure, Jared Cannonier's coming, and you could always throw Sean Strickland or somebody else in there, but nobody's like that pumped about it. Whereas Colby can play the Chael Sonnen to Anderson Silva caricature. And so I think if he had gotten on the mic and just made that call out to Adesanya, that would have been way, way better. And there would be a little bit more momentum here as opposed to him giving a couple of interviews with some news outlets and it's going to get run over by the rest of the news cycle. Whereas as the main event of UFC 272, the biggest pay-per-view of the first quarter, probably the dominant storyline out of that, aside from the whole Colby Masvidal stuff, would have been Colby calling for a fight with Israel Adesanya. And he just didn't do it well. Like if he had done it better, I think he'd have a lot better chance. And so as a result, he's probably not going to get it.
There's Laura Sanko on the screen, which means fighters are about to come out. You know what? Would you favor Covington to beat Adesanya?
No, I wouldn't. He's not a great top position grappler. The way his game works is with pressure and pace and predominantly getting multiple takedowns. He gets you against the fence, he takes you down, you stand up, he kind of wears you out that way. I don't really think that there's a great path to victory in just trying to wear Adesanya out like that. And he's going to eat a lot of shots coming in from Adesanya, and he'll have maybe some success early, but against the cage, Adesanya is a much longer fighter. He's going to make it a lot more punishing on Colby in the interior. I just think it's really, he has an avenue, but I don't think he can actually effectuate 3 takedowns and sit on him because, like I said, he's not great at holding top position. He's good at kind of floating and bringing you back down, but he's not going to sit on Israel for a whole round once he gets a takedown.
Shamai versus Covington if he gets past Burns. No, I think Shamai fights for the belts if he beats Gilbert Burns. His next fight will be for the title. There's no doubt about it. Now, if Gilbert Burns beats Shamaev, Gilbert's not fighting for the title. He needs a big fight. You could do that one. You could do Colby versus Burns. But if Shamaev beats Gilbert Burns, unless Shamaev just gets on the microphone and says, the title shot will be there whenever I want it, but before I get there, I want to fight Colby Covington and beat his ass, then maybe the UFC would pivot in that direction. But that would be completely on Shamaev to do that. But I don't.
Really dumb. Shamaev would rather defend a title against Covington than beat him before he gets points on the package.
Agreed. All right, real quick. Cody Durden's about to enter the cage to take on Mohamed Mahayev. I'm very much looking forward to this one. So, all right, Jai Herbert, Ilia Topuria. What you got?
Topuria's beat the hell out of him. Topuria's really good. Topuria's just outside my top 15 at lightweight, so really good.
I think Topuria wins handily. Who knows? Maybe he just looks sensational at 155.
Isn't he like the biggest fighter? Isn't he like the biggest favorite on the card?
Paddy is, but he's close. What's Topuria favored? Topuria minus 600. Paddy's minus 675. So he's the second biggest favorite on the card. Molly McCann, Luana Carolina. I'm going Molly McCann decision, but it's going to be a tough fight.
McCann, 3rd round TKO. Let's go, London.
Gunnar Nelson back in our lives. He might be the most slept on guy.
Going to tap this dude instantaneously.
Takashi Sato, you think he wins easy?
All of Sakato's losses have come by submission, and Gunnar Nelson is very good at submitting people. So, first, second round sub.
This is a terrible comment, by the way. I pretty much laid it out. Shamaev wins, he fights for the title. And if Burns wins, he fights Colby. What's the goddamn problem with that? Paddy Pimblett, Rodrigo Vargas.
First, second round submission. This is Israel's right. I mean, go read what Israel said. He ain't wrong.
Paddy wins quickly.
Yeah.
Arnold Allen, Dan Hooker. Great fight.
Allen, decision. competitive fight, loses the first round, takes Hooker down twice, rides out a win.
I'm picking the same, but I think the opposite happens. I think Allen has a great first 2 rounds, and Dan turns it on in the third and makes things real interesting. Main event: can Alexander Volkov stop the hype train? That is Tom Aspinall.
This is, like I said, man, honestly, for almost all of the British fighters on this card, with a few exceptions, in a neutral site, I might pick against them. Volkov has a clear path to victory here and a much more established fighter. I'm going to pick Aspinall to basically recreate Cyril Gane's game plan. He's so much faster than Volkov. As long as he doesn't try to knock him out, because Volkov is very durable, I think Aspinall can stick and move his way to a decision, and that's what I'm predicting will happen.
There you go. Makhachev in the octagon. He circled around, got right in Durden's face. So here we go. Fight's about to go down. 21-year-old Muhammad Makhachev making his UFC debut, taking on the 30-year-old Cody Durden. Let's go watch it, shall we? We'll see you guys on Twitter Spaces, 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you after the card, post-fight press conference stuff. Jose is in London, so get ready for that. We'll have a post-fight show thereafter. We'll figure out the Casey stuff. Go Casey, kick some ass,
go
brother.
Casey!
And we'll have a post-fight show. And then AK and I are actually going to record on to the next one. So it's going to be a very busy day.
Big
very
day.
Busy Saturday. I got to play. I'm playing Hilton Head National tomorrow, so
Woo!
8 a.m. I know. I'm excited.
Man,
so
I'm jealous. I'm playing the Frog, which is not nearly as fun.
I'm excited. First time I ever played there. So enjoy the fights, everybody. We'll see you on Twitter Spaces in about an hour and 20 minutes. Peace.